Mr. Catalan Rivas, you're charged with driving while intoxicated. You're facing up to 6 months in jail and or a $2,000 fine. There's an allegation that you had an open container in the vehicle. As a result, that makes it a minimum of 5 days in jail as opposed to just 3 days in jail. You've worked out an agreement. They're offering you 3 days in jail, credit for the 1 day that you've done. This will go on your record. If you were ever pulled over in a car, from now on, you're facing a minimum of 30 days in jail. Do you understand? Even if you have the slightest smell of alcohol on your breath and you get pulled over, they're probably going to charge you with a second offense. And there will be a lot of jail time. What we're doing today, there's a minimum of 30 days from now on. Do you understand? I would never get in a car, even if you've had a sip of alcohol, because you're risking your life. You're giving up the right to a trial, right to compel witnesses to testify on your behalf, confront and cross-examine your accusers. If you're not a citizen, there are possible immigration consequences. You can be deported, excluded from the country, denied naturalization. You give up the right to appeal. Once you plead guilty, it will go on your record. You can never take it off. Do you understand?
Yes.
How do you plead to this offense? Guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
I will find you guilty. I'm going to suspend your license for 90 days. Do not drive. What did I just say?
No manejo.
Not to drive.
You do.
Si lo hace.
Officer's going to pull you over. They're going to put you right in jail because driving without a license is a Class B misdemeanor, just like a DWI. Do you understand? Okay. About the fines and fees, Victor.
Your Honor, if we could waive those fees, Your Honor, he doesn't have too much money saved up to be able to pay all these fees, Judge. He doesn't have a driver's license at this point either. So in the future, if he were able to get some sort of immigration status, then this would obviously follow him around.
What your lawyer is asking me to do is to quash $3,500 worth of fines and fees and surcharges that you would normally otherwise have to pay. What do you do for a living?
Paint trabajo en la fiberglass restoration.
Fiberglass restoration?
18-wheeler truck, big truck.
Full time?
¿Trabaja tiempo completo?
Cuando tengo, sí, pero
When there is work, yes.
Mr. Catalan Rivas, I want you to understand something and let me be very clear to you
Muy claro.
that I'm going to do this for you now, but it's not going to happen again the next time. If you come back with another DWI, instead of it being $3,500, it's going to be around $6,000 to $7,000 that you're going to owe. Not to mention all the jail time that you will be required to do. All we are asking you to do is think when you're out there. If you've had anything to drink, don't get into a car. Do you understand?
Yeah.
All right, sir. We'll have you sign all your paperwork and good luck to you. You can run it.
Thank you, Judge. May I be excused?
Thanks, Victor, of course. Yeah.
Yes, sir. No, sir. Arms by your side. Whatever he asks you, answer truthfully, but briefly. All right.
Mr. Moorhead, you're charged with driving while intoxicated. Second offense. You are facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. You guys have worked out an agreement that they're going to reduce your case to a first. That avoids you from having to do 5 days in jail. That's why that is important. So I want you to understand, even though it gets reduced to a first, that's still 2 DWIs on your records. What happens on the next one?
He's one of you say.
You know how many times I hear that every day? Take a guess.
Every time that you're asked.
Every person that comes here, for every case that we have, on every week and every day of the 3,000 clients that we so-called have here, everyone says that. And the problem is that you never know when something catastrophic is going to happen in your life. Someone cheats on you, someone dies, and it makes you do something that you normally wouldn't do. The problem is that the law doesn't care. They still see too. And whatever happens in your life, even if you have a sip of alcohol and you get into a car and you get pulled over, all they care about is your record and how you look. And then now they're going to charge you with a felony DWI. And now you'll be facing 2 to 10 in the penitentiary. And I'm going to tell you, you don't have to be falling down piss ass drunk where you urinated all over yourself. It doesn't matter. The slightest smell of alcohol with a little glazed eyes and your record, we're looking at a lot of time in prison. You understand?
Yes, sir.
So what I'm trying to impart to you is that even if you have a sip of alcohol, I wouldn't get into a car because it's a humongous risk every time you drive. You give up a lot of rights by entering this agreement. You give up the right to a trial, right to compel witnesses to testify on your behalf, confront and cross-examine your accusers. If you're not a citizen, there are immigration issues. You can be deported, excluded from the country, denied naturalization. You give up the right to appeal. Once you plead guilty to this offense and you accept the probation, you cannot change this. It will reflect as a conviction until the day you die. Is this what you want to do?
Yes, sir.
How do you plead to the offense? Guilty or not guilty?
Guilty, Your Honor.
I will find you guilty and I will follow the agreement. As far as I see, is it 1 year or is it?
It should be 6 months probated for 1 year.
So it's 180 days in jail to be probated for 1 year. As part of the agreement, you will do a repeat offender DWI education class.
It's similar to a class that, it's just a little bit more intensive because it's a second offender class.
2 victim impact panels. A T-RAS, which is an evaluation to see what conditions you may need. If they say that you need intensive outpatient treatment, you must fulfill that as well. No drugs, alcohol, no breath test refusal, meaning that if you were in a car and you get pulled over and an officer asks you to submit to a breath sample, you must take it. If you don't, you're in violation of the probation. You must also have a guardian interlock as well. Is this how you understand the conditions?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any questions?
No, sir.
How do you plead to the offense of driving while intoxicated? Guilty or not guilty?
Guilty, Your Honor.
I will find you guilty and I will send it to you the agreement. I'm going to suspend your license for 1 year.
As per our conversation earlier, Judge, I'll file the occupational today or tomorrow
Does
morning.
he have an interlock now?
Yeah, he already has the interlock.
Understand that we lead the nation in DWI fatalities. So officers, they don't care if you're not pissed drunk. They don't if they smell alcohol, they see 2 DWIs on your record, they're going to make the assumption and they're just going to take you down. That's why it's so much easier. One button, $20 will take you anywhere you want to go in the city. Call Uber. They should be your best friend.
My client, Judge, had unfortunate circumstances which led to him having to drive in this instance.
But the problem is that if you kill a 2-year-old kid, those unfortunate circumstances, no one cares about your unfortunate circumstances. All they care is the dead body on the side of the road. You know that I had a lady once I represented many moons ago, found that her husband was cheating on her in their bed, caught them in the bed, in the act. So she goes out and decides, you know what? That stupid MF, she goes to the club, picks up the first person she can find in spite to try to cheat on, gets in the car, gets loaded at the club, takes off, and over there on it was Hillcroft and Gessner, runs a light, kills the guy. She's now in prison doing a very lengthy sentence. What happened to make you do whatever it was? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if the sky fell, your grandmother died, your spouse cheated. None of that matters. What matters is the end result. And that's why I try to impart to you how important that is so that you realize that. Because we don't want to see you in prison, Good luck to you, sir. Oh, well, hold on a second. We also need the fines and fees and surcharges. So what do you do for a living, sir?
There's a DPS surcharge, and he has to determine whether or not you can afford to pay it. So he's going to ask you a few financial questions.
What do you do for a living?
I'm retired.
Okay, from what?
The Army and from Exxon Research.
So you had a pretty good job while you were,
Yes, sir.
okay?
And I'm hired, Your Honor.
Okay, so you'll be required to pay the fines and fees and surcharges, and I'll give him 2 years to pay, so it'll end up being like $150, $120 a month. But it's reduced to a first, so it's $3,000 plus the court cost, and then 2 years to pay. All right, sir, best of luck to you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Judge. Have a seat, Mr. Moorhead, probation.
Morning, Ms. Scott.
How you been, Mr. Fleischer?
I'm sorry?
How you been?
Oh, good, thank you. Ms. Scott, you're charged with assault of a family member. Why is she still in custody? What happened?
Well, she actually has a felony as well, Judge. And we
An
work.
assault?
Yes, Judge. I'm actually the attorney for the felony. I'm covering for a colleague, but so we came to an agreement. She has injury to a child in felony. So what they're basically saying is if she takes a 12-month misdemeanor in her misdemeanor, then they'll go ahead and dismiss the felony.
Okay,
So it's just when she pleads, I'll just run up to the 14th.
how old is the child? Shh.
14.
You know, hell hath no fury as a scorned woman and a scorned teenager. No one can make your life a more living hell than a teenager who is hell on wheels. And what you do to a teenager now will impact them for the rest of their life. If you beat them into submission constantly to get them to do stuff, what do you think they're going to do to their kids?
The same.
Same thing. It's not fair. 99% of the people in Harris County are in jail because of one reason and one reason only. You want to take a guess why?
Of harming their kids. Harming their kids.
Self-control. You get upset, you wig out, and you unleash without thinking of what the consequence is. 99%, if I had to guess, self-control. What kind of injuries are we talking to the child here? What happened?
Says that the complainant, the 14-year-old, stated that she had observed the defendant drinking, and after the defendant returned home, she told the defendant to stop consuming, and that's when the defendant with an open palm pushed her and then began striking her multiple times and pinned her to the ground, and then bit her right ear, causing pain.
So the child has to tell you to stop drinking. One of the conditions that you will have while you're on this probation is not to consume alcohol. And I'm going to put a leg monitor on you so I know that you're not consuming alcohol. This is a scram ankle monitor so I know that you're not consuming alcohol. Part of the other plea bargain that you will have to do is a parenting class as well. And I'm going to tell you now, if you have a drug and alcohol problem, you better address it, because if I find that you have issues with drugs and alcohol, I'm going to take care of it for you. And I promise you, Ms. Scott, you're not going to like the way that I do it. Do you understand? If I find that you have a problem, we can always file a motion. We can see what's going on and put you in a rehab facility in the jail. And I will do that in a second to protect every single child of Harris County. Do you understand? Is CPS involved in your life? You're lucky that they aren't, but it's only a matter of time before they are. And I'm going to tell you, when CPS gets involved in your life, it really turns your whole household upside down, not to mention the cost that you will incur, because you're probably going to have to hire a lawyer to represent you on that as well. You are lucky that they're offering you something like this to avoid a felony, because anytime you can avoid a felony conviction, you're winning. But I'm going to tell you, I'm going to hold you to this. One false move, they will file a motion to revoke. I'm going to put you in jail. And if I find that it's substance abuse issues, then we will be looking at treatment in the jail. How long have you been in custody now?
4 months.
Who's taking care of the 14-year-old now?
She stayed with my mom and I stayed with my uncle. Before I came to jail, I was staying with all my kids were staying with me.
How many kids do you
I
have?
have 3, but my 2 youngest, they stay with their dads. So while I'm getting myself together, probation, whatever, my daughter will be with my mom. So, and I'll be with my uncle.
Every child needs a mother.
Yes, sir.
Child needs a father, because when mom and dad are away, when the cat's away, the mice will play. And when you're gone, they're doing who knows what. So they need you there for their guidance. They need you there for their love, because if you don't give it to them, you're going to have a miserable next 4 to 5 years of your life. As far as conditions, did we ever do a TRAS? I want to order one now. Okay. Scram within 3 days of release, 30 days to get a job, a parenting class, no drugs, no alcohol. Well, you know, the other thing I'm going to imagine is it'd be interesting to see if they're going to do some kind of anger management class, maybe a BIP or something like that, you know? Right. Okay. So, but would I? Okay. I'd like to, if we can, waive all the fees as well. So I'm going to try to waive as many of the fees as I can for you, but there's some things that you're going to have to pay for that I cannot pay for you.
I understand.
We can try to get TAP funding for you so that I can try to help you pay for as much as I can. As far as the scram, I don't know, you know, but I think that, I mean, I want to make sure, you know, I want this monitor on so I know that you're not consuming alcohol. And if you can show me after a couple months, you know, several months that you're trustworthy, we can talk about taking it off.
Yes, sir.
But my most important concern is that you're not drinking.
Yes, sir.
Don't drink at all. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Give up a lot of rights by entering this agreement. You give up the right to a trial, right to compel witnesses to testify on your behalf, confront and cross-examine your accusers. If you're not a citizen, there are possible immigration consequences. You can be deported, excluded from the country, denied naturalization. You give up the right to appeal. Once you plead guilty, once you accept this agreement, that's it. It's either you are stuck with this until you either complete it successfully or you get violated and we issue a warrant for your arrest. And I'm going to tell you now, I'm going to keep you with this until we make sure that all the classes take so that you don't.
Ask for it anyway. I was gonna ask for like AA for drinking and anger management anyway, so.
The TRAS, which is an evaluation to see, they're probably going to have you doing intensive outpatient treatment as well.
Okay.
And an anger management class as well. I'll try to, like I said, I mean, you need a job though, because you need something to occupy your time as well.
Yes, that's why I'm going back once I get everything coordinated.
What were you doing before this?
I was working before all this happened. You know? I was a manager at Little Caesars.
And Judge, if I may ask, would the TRES be after she's been released, or would that be understood?
So, but I'm going to tell you that if you fail to show up for the TRAS, the evaluation, because we're setting it within just a couple of days, if you fail to go, I will immediately file a warrant and we're going to do it while you're in custody. You got to get the TRAS done. I'm giving you the opportunity to do it on the outside now, but if you fail us, then they'll issue a warrant. We're going to do it while you're in custody.
Do I
So-
come here for the TRAS?
We'll discuss it.
Correct you
Oh.
where. So, I mean, all we're asking you to do, it's not that much. A parenting class, an anger management class, no drugs and no alcohol, and stick with the monitor for now. That's all you got to do.
I would, whatever I have to do to show my kids I can do it, I'm willing to do it.
Oh, you need to also understand one thing. This comes with an affirmative finding of family violence. What that means is that you can never own a gun or ammunition as a result of this as well. If you pick up another one of these cases, you will be charged with a third-degree felony. If you ever put your hands on someone else, even so much as you just squeeze a little bit to where it hurts, they can use this case to enhance you to a third-degree felony, 2 to 10 of the penitentiary. Do you understand? So the next time you get upset, it's going to happen. You need to find another release. A person is not a release. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
All right. How do you plead to the offense? Guilty or not guilty?
Guilty, sir.
I will not find you guilty. I will withhold that for a year. Ms. Scott, we want the best for you.
Yes,
You
sir.
know, it's just all we're asking you to do is be nice. It's not hard. And if alcohol is a type of thing that makes you become into a Hyde, a Jekyll and Hyde, don't do it. All right, good luck, man. Thank you, counsel.
I think I should go back over here. The company will take a while.